This is the first of the two webinar series on how to use trend lines and Fibonacci. The agenda today is to show you how to use trend lines and how to use Fibonacci retracement. And in the next webinar, which will be in the coming week, in the next week, we will talk about Fibonacci extensions as well as a few other price tools. So with that, let us get started with today's webinar. So as I said, I'll be covering two things today. One is how to construct a trend line and how to use a trend line in order to identify the prevailing trend. The second is how to use Fibonacci retracement in order to make buy and sell recommendations. So with that, let us get started. So we'll start with trend line first. Now, if you attended my previous webinar series, which was on classical price patterns, you would recollect that primarily there were three types of trends. They are uptrend, downtrend, and sideways trend. Similarly, there are three types of trend lines that you can construct. One is an uptrend line, the other is a downtrend line, and the third is the horizontal trend line. But before we get to the stage of talking about each of the three types of trend lines, let us first understand what a trend line is and what is the major purpose for which a trend line is used. Primarily speaking, a trend line is nothing but a line. Basically, it is a straight line that connects two swing lows or two swing highs. So how you construct a trend line is basically you connect successive swing lows, which are nothing but successive swing supports, as well as successive swing highs, which are nothing but successive swing resistances. The trend line helps you in identifying the direction of a trend. So basically, if the trend line that you have drawn is pointing upwards, and if price is trading above that, it means that the prevailing trend of the security is up. On the other hand, if the trend line that you've drawn is pointing down, and if price is trading below that trend line, what it tells you is that the prevailing trend of the security is down. A trend line is one of the oldest as well as one of the most used forms by which an analyst or a person identifies the direction of the security. By far, it is the most widely used and one of the most reliable ways of measuring the direction and the angle of a security. As I said earlier, there are three types of trends, namely uptrend, downtrend, and sideways trend. Similarly, there are three types of trend lines that you could construct. These could be an uptrend line, a downtrend line, or a horizontal trend line. Let us talk about each of these in more detail now. So let us start with an uptrend line. Now, as you see on the image on the right, the green line, which is sloping upwards, is nothing but the uptrend line. As you can see, an uptrend line connects successive swing lows. So this is the first swing low. This is the second swing low. Once price rallies from the second swing low and the second swing low is confirmed, all you need to do is you need to click on your technical toolbox, select trend line, and connect these two lows, and then extend the trend line forward. Now, in order to draw a trend line, all you need is two successive swing lows. Once two successive swing lows are in place, you can connect a trend line and project it forward. This is very important to keep in mind that whenever you draw a trend line from your technical toolbox, you need to project it forward. The reason for doing so is because trend lines frequently act as area of supports. Going forward in time, once you have drawn a trend line and price is recovering from the second swing low, in the ensuing decline, you can expect price to take support near the trend line and either bounce from there or break that trend line. Now, in case price takes support at the trend line and starts bouncing from the trend line, as happened over here, it tells you to buy. So a basic buy signal using a trend line is generated when price takes support of the rising uptrend line and starts recovering or starts bouncing from there. Whenever such a setup forms, you should be buying, and you can place stop loss a few ticks below the low that the price formed. In the coming sections, we will see charts of how you can interpret and analyze using trend lines. But before that, let's understand a few terminologies that pertain to uptrend line. Now, as long as price is trading above the uptrend line, the uptrend is intact. So as you can see from this image, price is continuing to trade above the uptrend line throughout this image. So what it tells you is that the prevailing trend of the security is up. Whenever price falls towards the trend line and starts bouncing from the trend line, you would be looking to buy by placing a stop loss below the trend, a few ticks below the trend line. So as long as price is trading above the trend line, the trend of the security is up or bullish. Now, as I said, whenever price approaches the uptrend line, you can expect the uptrend line to act as a support and the decline to stop somewhere near the vicinity of the uptrend line, as happened over here and again over here. At that zone, the demand usually is sufficient enough to stop the decline in price and push the prices higher. Having said that, uptrend lines do not hold forever. At some point or the other, an uptrend line eventually breaks. What happens when an uptrend line breaks is that whenever an uptrend line breaks, it indicates that the angle at which the price of the security was rising has weakened. So what that means is, earlier, if you can see from this image, price was rising at the angle of this trend line. Now this was the angle of the trend line. This is roughly 45 degrees. So price was rising at that angle. However, if price breaks below the trend line, it indicates that price is no longer rising at that angle. Now either that could mean a change in trend or it could mean a reversal in trend. Both are quite different. I'll talk about this. A very important rule to keep in mind is that whenever an uptrend line is broken, it doesn't necessarily mean that the trend has reversed. What it means is that the angle at which the price was rising before the trend line break has weakened. So whenever a trend line breaks, what it tells you is that price is no longer maintaining the angle at which it was rising before the trend line broke. So whenever a trend line breaks, whenever an uptrend line breaks, one of the three things could happen. One is that price could start consolidating following the break of the uptrend line, so it could become sideways. Other is that price could reverse its trend and start declining. And the third possibility is that even after the break of an uptrend line, price could still continue moving higher, however, at a lesser angle than the angle at which it was previously rising. So whenever an uptrend line breaks, one of these three things could happen. Number one, price could enter into a consolidation zone. Number two, price could reverse its trend from up to down and start declining. Or number three, price could continue rising, but at a less steeper angle than it was previously rising before the trend line breaks. A common misconception that a lot of people have in mind is that whenever an uptrend line breaks, it is an outright sell. It is a reversal in trend. However, that is not necessarily true. All what a break of an uptrend line means is that price is no longer maintaining the angle at which it was previously rising. That said, the break of an uptrend line doesn't necessarily mean a reversal in trend. It is very important to keep this thing in mind whenever you are placing trading recommendations following a break of a trend line. I'll talk more about this by showing you a live chart later on. Now let us see a few images of how to construct a trend line. Now, following a decline from this was the lowest point at which price of the security traded during this time period. Following then, there was a very strong rally. There was a correction. Again, price started rallying from that. Now, you could draw a trend line connecting this low. That is, this is the first low and this is the second. You could draw a trend line connecting that. But as you can imagine, that trend line broke somewhere over here. So from there, price made a low, it started rising, made a low again, and from there it started bouncing. Now, the moment price made a low over here and started bouncing, you have two successive swing lows. This is the first swing low, this is the next swing low. So you could draw a trend line connecting these two swing lows and project the trend line forward. Going forward, as I said, the uptrend line frequently tends to act as support to prices, which is what happened over here. Price made a new high, from there it declined. However, price took support near the vicinity of the trend line. Now there was a modest breach of the trend line over here, but selling pressure never really came in the coming candles. Instead, if you can see, what happened over here was that a, a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern formed. Now, if any of you attended my webinar on Japanese candlestick pattern series, you will know that I talked about a two candlestick pattern called bullish engulfing, which is a bullish reversal pattern, which is what formed over here. And from there was a strong rally in price. So this particular zone, which is a support area, which is the trend line support area, price took support over there, and from there was a nice bounce. Again, price is again retreated back towards the trend line. Now here you have an even bigger trend line. The thick bold black line is the main trend line connecting the highs. You can see that during this entire period, price was in a very powerful uptrend. Now this is the first swing low, and this is the next swing low that I have drawn, and I have projected the trend line forward. As you can see, at this point, price took support at the trend line, and from there it bounced. Going forward, there is a nice rally in price. At this point, however, price broke below the trend line. And what happened was that if you look to the left, this area was acting as a very strong support previously. So look at the number of times price is taking support at that area. And that area broke over here. Now that was a first signing that this uptrend was weakening. And in the coming candle, you see the open and high was also the same. And going forward, if you notice, the low of this trend line breakdown candle was broken at this point. That was a strong signal that the prevailing trend has weakened significantly. And what it told you was that the trend is probably reversed, which tells you that you should, if at all you hold any long position in this security, you should be exiting. Alternatively, you could also consider building a short position in the security. Now, within this larger trend line, you could draw smaller trend lines as well. These small trend lines that you see are nothing but internal trend lines. Now, they are called internal trend lines because they are forming within the confines of the main trend line. The thick bold line is the main trend line, and each of these three trend lines are forming when the main trend line was intact. As such, they are called as internal trend lines. So the first internal trend line, as you can see, was drawn connecting this low over here and this point. And somewhere over here, it acted as support. From there, there was a strong bounce. That trend line eventually broke and price started correcting lower. The moment you can spot two successive swing highs, one is at this level and the other is at this level, you can draw a downward sloping trend line and connect the highs. That trend line was broken over here and price started climbing again, and then again you can draw an internal trend line. Look at the number of times price was taking you know kind of taking support at the internal trend line. This is the first point. This is the second point, connecting the two supports, and that trend line was eventually broken over here. So internal trend lines tell you minor supports and resistances, whereas the main trend lines tells you important support and resistance. Let me now just briefly show you live chart of, for example, Nifty index. Now, as you know, there are two types of scales. One is the log scale and other is the arithmetic scale. Let us look at the log scale first, and let me select a trend line. Now, as I said earlier, I'll not just select the normal trend line because a normal trend line, if you select, it will start from where you start drawing and stop at the point where you stop drawing. So a normal trend line doesn't extend to the right. What I instead want is a trend line that extends infinitely to the right. So I'll be selecting something that's called a ray. As you can see from this image, this trend line extends infinitely to the right. So from here, the lowest point, I'll draw a trend line and connect this swing low over here. As you can see, I have connected two swing lows. One is at this point and the other is at this point. In fact, if you see, price took multiple supports at the trend line over here. Then again here also price took nice support at the trend line. Again over here price took support at the trend line. So look how well this trend line was acting as support. At this point, however, if you see, there was a break from the trend line. However, as I said, whenever a trend line breaks, it does not necessarily mean a reversal in trend. If you remember from my presentation, I told you that whenever an uptrend line breaks, one of three things could happen. One is that price could consolidate, other is that price could reverse and start declining, and the third is that price could continue to rise, which is what happened over here. So although the trend line broke at this point, which was around 11,125, but as you see, going forward, Nifty continued rising and made a new high this week of 11,794. Hence, it is very important to remember when using trend lines that whenever a trend line is broken, whenever an uptrend line is broken, it doesn't necessarily mean an outright sell. What it just means is that price is no longer maintaining the angle at which it was previously rising. So if you connect, for example, the lows now, so the situation will be something like this. So as you can see, initially the angle is steep, but now the angle has become a little shallower. So the angle at which the price was rising has changed, but the uptrend is still intact. One way to trade a trend line is that once a trend line breaks, you would wait for price to break below the previous support before deciding to sell. Now, in this particular case, the previous support was somewhere over here. So this could be used as a conservative level which would kind of tell you that once this level is broken, the trend is probably reversed. However, that level, if you see, is a little far away. So as I said in our previous webinar series, an uptrend is a sequence wherein price is continuously making a series of higher highs and higher lows. An uptrend reverses when that sequence of higher highs and higher lows is broken and price makes a first series of lower high and lower low, which has not happened in case of the Nifty index. As you can see, since the index bottomed out in March, it has been consistently making a series of higher highs and higher lows. So as of now, although the trend line is broken, the index still continues to be in a nice uptrend. So coming back to our presentation, an important thing to remember is that whenever a trend line breaks, whenever an uptrend line breaks, you need a sell confirmation from price itself. And one way to use a sell confirmation is for price to break below an important support. So if price breaks below an immediate important support following a trend line break, at that point you could initiate a short recommendation. But until then, trading just because a trend line has broken is a risky strategy to initiate. Now the opposite of an uptrend line is a downtrend line. A downtrend line is a trend line that connects successive swing highs or swing resistances. In order to draw a downtrend line, all you need is two important highs. Once you have two important highs, you could connect those two highs using a downward sloping trend line and extend the trend line to the right. Now, the idea of a downtrend line is to use the trend line resistance as a selling zone. So once you have drawn a trend line and price comes higher and touches the trend line, if price is showing some signs of taking resistance at that trend line, you could initiate a sell position. So the idea of using a downtrend line is to use the trend line resistance as a selling zone. So this black arrow over here is one selling zone. This black arrow over here is another selling zone, and so on. So a downtrend line acts as a resistance or a barrier to price. Similarly, what I said of uptrend line, as long as price is trading below the downtrend line is very much intact, and you should use rallies to sell. The downtrend line acts as a resistance whenever price recovers and touches the downtrend line. On the other hand, when a downtrend line is eventually broken, it indicates that the angle at which the price was declining has weakened. That said, it doesn't necessarily mean a reversal in trend to up. What it means is that following a downtrend line break, price could either turn into a sideways band, or it could start going higher, or it could continue falling but at a less steeper angle. So this is how you connect a downtrend line. In order to draw a downtrend line, all you need is two successive swing highs. So over here, if you see, this is the highest point, and then this is the first swing high. So once you have two highs in place, you could plot a downtrend line by connecting those two highs and projecting the trend line to the right. As you can see, price took resistance multiple number of times whenever there was minor recovery. So every recovery, if you see, is meeting with resistance at near the vicinity of the downtrend line. Then there was a steep drop over here, prices again recovered. So multiple number of times in this case, you see that the downtrend line has acted as strong resistance whenever the price is approached close to that downtrend line. So an ideal way to trade a downtrend line is that whenever price approaches near the downtrend line, you wait and see whether price is taking resistance near the downtrend line. If it is taking resistance, then you should be selling by keeping a stop loss a few ticks above the downtrend line. Now again, the black line over here is the main downtrend line, and each of the other lines are your internal trend lines. In this particular case, you can see. Let's first talk about the internal trend line. So this trend line, which you can see, connects this high and this high. These are two important swing heights that this trend line is connecting. It was eventually broken over here, and once it broke, there was a uh, rally in the price going forward in time. Then again, price started correcting from there. Again, I've drawn a trend line to connect two swing highs. That swing high was broken. The trend line was broken over here, but initially price did not rally. As you see, it turned sideways following the trend line break before eventually going higher. Again, a final third internal trend line is drawn over here. This is the first high, and this is the next swing high that it is connecting, and that trend line was broken over here. Now, this pink trend line is an intermediate trend line that is connecting several highs. So it's drawn connecting this high, which is the first high, and again this high, which is the second high, and then it has been projected forwards. As you can see, once the trend line was drawn following the emergence of this high, it acted as resistance here, it acted as resistance here, it acted as resistance here also. At this point, price tried to break it, but on either of the candles, the closing was below the trend line, indicating that the downtrend, the intermediate downtrend, remains pretty much intact. However, after taking minor hurdles at this point, it was eventually broken, which indicated that the intermediate trend has turned upwards. And finally, at this point, after taking resistance for a few weeks, price managed to break above the main trend line also, which indicated that the main trend line has turned higher. So using this chart, you can see how you can use trend lines based on the importance of the trend. So here we have three different types of trend line. The thick black one is a trend line that is used to identify primary or major resistances. The pink line is an intermediate trend line that is used to identify intermediate resistances. And the thin black ones are minor trend lines or minor downtrend lines that are used to identify minor resistances. So depending on the trend line, you can also identify whether that trend line is a major trend line or an intermediate trend line or a minor trend line. Finally, over here also, I've shown a major trend line, an intermediate trend line, and a minor trend line. Let's start with the minor trend line first, which is this point. As you can see, this minor trend line is connecting the first high, which is over here, and then the swing high, which is over here. And going forward in time, that trend line was broken. There is a decent bit of minor upswing following that break, and then price started coming down again. Then there was a recovery, and then price started declining again. Once price started declining from here, I could draw the main trend line connecting this high with this high and project it forward. Similarly, there is an intermediate high that was formed over here, and once that was in place, I could draw an intermediate trend line connecting this high and this high and project it forward. Now this if you remember from our previous webinar series, which was in classical price patterns, if you attended that, you can recollect that I talked about a pattern called an inverse HNS or an inverse head and shoulder, which is a bullish reversal pattern. That is what formed over here. So this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder, and then this is the neckline connecting the two peaks of the pattern. This trend line, this neckline, if you see, was broken over here, and at the same time, this intermediate trend line is also breaking. It is also breaking. So what we have is a dual confirmation. Not only is price breaking above this intermediate trend line, but it is also breaking above the neckline of a bullish HNS pattern. Now, whenever you are getting a confluence of signals, it indicates at a strong reversal in trend, which is what happened over here. The breakout from an inverse HNS pattern, as well as the breakout from this pink trend line, indicated that the probability of price moving higher is much higher, and which is what happened going forward in time. There was a strong rally, and that rally was so strong that price even managed to easily break above the primary trend line, which is this one. And the price has since been heading higher. So that is how you can use trend line, number one, to identify the prevailing trend, and number two, to identify changes in trend. Whenever a trend line break is also confirmed by other tools, such as the one that happened over here, this trend line break is accompanied an by an HNS pattern breakout. So whenever you have dual confirmation, the trading signals tend to be very strong. So that was about a downtrend line. In order to draw a downtrend line, all that you need is two important swing highs. Now let us talk about the third type of trend line, which is a horizontal trend line. Now, as you can see, a horizontal trend line is mostly a horizontal line, which indicates that the price is in a sideways trend. So whenever the trend line that you have drawn is horizontal, what it tells you that the trend is sideways. Now, if you recollect about uptrend line, an uptrend line is pointing upwards, which means that the bulls or the buyers are in control of the market. In case of a downtrend line, the downtrend line is pointing downwards, which means that the bears are in control of the market. Similarly, a horizontal trend line, which is a straight line that is neither sloping up nor sloping down, it tells you that neither the bulls nor the bears are in control and market is in a sort of equilibrium. Again, in order to draw a horizontal trend line, all you need is two successive swing lows or two successive swing highs. Now, as long as price is trading within the confines of the horizontal trend line, uh, what it tells you is that the prevailing trend of the security is sideways, and as long as price continues trading between the horizontal trend lines, you can expect that consolidation to prevail. In case the price breaks above the horizontal trend line, what it tells you is that bulls have probably taken control of the market, and going forward, we could see higher prices. Similarly, if the lower trend line is broken, what it tells you is that the bears have probably taken control of the market, and going forward, we should probably see lower prices. So let us look at a horizontal trend line. Now here, following this nice uptrend, as you can see, price entered into a consolidation zone that lasted several months. So within this time period, you can see that neither the bulls nor the bears were in control of prices. So as you can see, the lower trend line is drawn connecting successive swing lows. So this is the first swing low, this is the second swing low, and on the third occasion, that swing low is again acting as support. Similarly, the uptrend line is drawn connecting swing highs. This is the first swing high, this is the second swing high. Over here, there was a minor break, but as you see, price never sustained above the trend line. However, what is interesting to note is that there was a breakout above the horizontal trend line at this point in time. Also, if you look at the lower panel, which shows you volume, when price broke above the upper trend line, you could also see that there is a significant expansion in volume. So what it tells you is that the buyers are probably taking control of the markets in a very strong manner just by looking at the quantum of volume. And whenever there is a breakout that is accompanied by huge volume, it tells you that price is likely to head in the direction of the breakout, which is what happened over here. Once the trend line broke, you can see that buyers started aggressively buying this particular security, and there was a strong rally going forward in time. So whenever price is trading within the confines of horizontal trend line and there is a break, and if that break is accompanied by an expansion in volume, you should ideally be trading in the direction of that breakout. Now, how I would have traded that pattern is that uh, there was a breakout at this particular point, and the closing was also above the trend line, as you can see on this candle. Also, there was a huge expansion in volume. So on the following day, that is the day following this breakout candle, if the high of this breakout candle is broken, I would buy at that point and keep a stop loss below the low of this breakout candle. Now, the low of this breakout candle was this. To be a little more conservative, you could keep stop loss slightly lower below this low also. So that is my risk for this trade. And my reward, of course, I will use other parameters to determine what will be my take profit level. But the idea is that stop losses are more important. So whenever you buy uh, following a trend line break, you must know where your stop loss should be. So if I were trading this pattern, I would keep my stop loss either below the low of the breakout candle, which is this candle, the low of that is this, or if I was a little more conservative, I would keep stop loss below the low of these two candles, somewhere near here. So that's my risk, and my reward will be depending on other tools, or I might even hold on to the position as long as price does not show signs of reversal. But what you can see from here is that the uptrend lasted for the next several days, and there was a very strong rally in price going forward in time. The volume also confirmed that rally. So as you can see, during this entire rally, the volume was significantly higher than the average volume. Now, the most important question that people ask is whether do you connect the extremes, that is the high or low, or whether do you connect the open or close. Again, the answer to this question is quite subjective. Some people prefer connecting the extremes. On the other hand, there will be some people who prefer connecting the closing prices. And then again, there will be some people who prefer to connect a combination of high low and close. So the answer to this question is that it really depends from person to person. No two people will draw trend lines in the exact same manner, so it is highly subjective. But based on my experience of using trend lines, a key rule to remember is that a trend line must connect as many points as possible without a significant penetration. So whenever you're drawing a trend line, ensure that there is not a significant penetration of that trend line. So as long as you adhere to that rule, you could draw a trend line that either connects the extremes, such as the high and low, or the closing prices. Whenever drawing trend line, keep in mind that you should be very flexible and don't stick to rigid rules of connecting just the extreme prices. Also, if you see a big spike in price, such as a sort of buying climax or a selling climax, such candles can be ignored. Now here, based on my experience of trading trend lines, here are some inputs that I will suggest as far as guidelines of using trend line is concerned. Number one is that the angle of the trend line is very important. Neither should the trend line in particular should not be very steep, because if a trend line is very steep, then the odds of it breaking sooner are very high. So ensure that the trend line is not too steep. Second is that the higher the number of times the trend line is touched without penetration, the greater is its significance. So if a particular trend line is tested 5 or 6 or 7 times, and then it eventually breaks below that trend line, then that break is more significant than price breaking a trend line that was touched just say 3 times. So the number of times the trend line is tested also has a significant say in terms of the importance of that trend line when it is eventually broken. The third important rule is that if a trend line is not fitting well, then ignore that trend line. Don't force a trend line whenever you're drawing, whenever you're trying to draw one. If a trend line is not fitting perfectly well, just ignore it. Fourth is that when a trend line is broken, and if you want to act prematurely, then pay careful attention to some other filters such as volume or close and so on. So if a trend line breaks, as I said, it doesn't outrightly mean a reversal of trend. But still, if you want to act early, or if you are pretty convinced that a trend reversal is likely to follow, then what you should be doing is that you should be looking for some other parameters, such as, is the volume expanding? So for instance, if a trend line breaks and if there is a sharp expansion in volume, now that increases the odd that the trend could reverse. However, if the trend line is breaking, but if it is not accompanied by an expansion in volume, then the chances of trend reversal will be relatively low. So these are the aspects that you could consider when trading trend lines. Uh, Again, key to remember is that if a trend line is broken, unless you're very convinced that a reversal in trend could occur, wait for price to give some sort of confirmation before deciding to trade. As I showed using the chart of Nifty, if you remember, the trend line broke at this point. Now this is the log chart. The trend line broke at this point, but since then, if you see, price continued to go higher instead of coming lower. So had you sold following the trend line break, you would have probably made a loss if you had held on the position for so long. So whenever you trade following a trend line break without getting any sort of confirmation from the price itself, do ensure that you keep very strict stop loss. So if you sold over here in this particular case, your stop loss should be above the high, above the peak of the most recent high. So once this price broke, you should be exiting the short position. The important rule is risk management. You should never hold on to your losing position forever. And again, do get into the habit of extending trend lines to the right, because going forward in time, trend lines tend to act as important areas of support and resistance. So whenever you draw a trend line, ensure that you extend it to the right. Occasionally, once you draw a trend line, it could also be possible to draw a parallel line. Now, what exactly do I mean by this? Uh, Let me show this using the chart of gold, for instance. So this is the chart of COMEX gold. Okay. So let me draw a trend line over here. So I'll select Ray because I want to extend it to the forward. Now this is an important swing low that I'm seeing. So I'll draw it from here and I will connect this swing low. So as you can see, price is taking support. So this is the first swing low. This is the second swing low. And as you can see, price is taking support over, it took support over here, and multiple times it took support over here, then again over here. Now, once you have drawn a uptrend line, you could also draw a parallel trend line to see where resistance lies. So what I'll do is I'll right click this, I'll click copy, and anywhere on the chart, I'll right click and click paste. And then I'll take this trend line upwards to connect the first swing high, which is this. So as you can see, this is the first swing high. Going forward in time, if you notice, this parallel line acted as resistance over here, if you can notice. So that is the importance of parallel line. So whenever you draw a trend line, now this is the main trend line, the uptrend line. Whenever you draw an uptrend line, see whether it is possible to draw a parallel line. If it is, then that parallel line could act as important resistance going forward, as it did in this case. This parallel line acted as strong resistance to prices, and notice how sharply price fell from there. So do get into the habit of drawing parallel trend lines as well. Finally, uh, you could draw a support line. Now, an uptrend line is nothing but a support line that is pointing upwards because it connects successive higher lows. Now, you could draw a support line that not just connects higher lows, but also connects lower lows. So you could have a support line that is pointing lower also, and going forward in time, that could act as a good area of support. So these are some of the important things that I had to say about trend line. Now here is a chart that shows alternating trend lines. So this is the first trend line. This is the downward sloping trend line or downtrend line connecting these two swing highs. It acted as a resistance over here, but it eventually broke over here and price started heading higher. Then I've drawn an uptrend line which connects this swing low over here with this swing low over here. At this point, it acted as a support, as you can see, but it eventually broke at this point in time. Initially, there was consolidation in price following the breakdown, following the trend line breakdown. But as you can see, this uptrend line acted as a resistance going forward in time, and then there was a steep decline in price. One way that you could have traded over here is once when price broke, initially do nothing. As you can see, price became sideways, but then there was a break from this consolidation. So somewhere below this point, you could have sold this security. And as you can see, there was a nice decline in price going forward in time. Now, this is an example of a failed trend line. So as you can see, there was a trend line breach over here. Now, this trend line is connecting three lows. So this is the first and the second low. Once the two lows are established, you can draw a trend line. It acted as a support over here, but it eventually broke at this point. However, following the break, as you can see, price did not go lower, instead started going higher again, and then again it moved back above this trend line. So this is a classic example of a failed trend line. What is important to remember is that following an uptrend line breakdown, if you sell, it is very important to have a proper stop loss in place. Never trade without a stop loss, otherwise losses could become too big. So that was about trend lines. Now let us talk about Fibonacci retracement. Now, what is a retracement? A retracement is nothing but a price correction that could follow following an uptrend or a downtrend. So as you can imagine, uptrends do not last forever. Similarly, downtrends do not last forever also. Also, when an uptrend is forming, there will be periods when price is correcting and then resuming the uptrend and so on. Now, those corrections that come within the uptrend are nothing but your retracements. So those are corrections to the prior trend. Now, why do you use Fibonacci retracement? You use Fibonacci retracement in order to find out areas of supports and resistances on the chart. How do you use Fibonacci? How do you trade using Fibonacci retracement? Now, as I said, you should be trading in the direction of the prevailing trend, and you should be using the retracements as buying or selling levels. I'll talk more about this in the coming slides. On any charting platform, you will see various Fibonacci ratios, but the most important but the most widely followed are 23.6, 38.2, 50, 61.8, and 78.6. Even among these, 38.2, 50, and 61.8 are important. These are the three ratios that you should frequently be keeping an eye on. And even within this, 61.8% is the most important Fibonacci ratio. Whenever you plot a Fibonacci retracement, pay careful attention to how the price is behaving whenever it retraces 61.8% of the prior move. Let us talk in detail about this. Now, you could draw a Fibonacci retracement either following a rally in price or following a decline in price. Let us talk about how to draw a Fibonacci retracement following a rally in price. Now, these are some important points that you can later see. I'll go straight to the chart. Okay. In order to draw a retracement following a rally, you need to identify an important swing low and an important swing high. Now, I have marked these important points using A and B on this particular chart. A is the point where the rally started and B is the point where the rally showed signs of topping out. The moment I see that the rally is showing signs of topping out, I will be interested in finding out where are the possible supports for this entire rally. So what I'll do is I'll just let me go to a particular chart. Now let me take the chart of Nifty for instance. Okay, so let us say that from this point over here, price has been in a very powerful uptrend. Now the first sign of trouble came over here because following this top, there was a nice correction in price. So what I'll do is I'll click on this price toolbox, and within that I'll select Fibonacci retracement. Now remember, I'm drawing Fibonacci retracement after a rally. So my objective is to find out possible areas of support following this rally. So I'll connect the low, which is this point, with the high, which is this point, and the tool will show me various Fibonacci retracement ratios. So the horizontal dotted lines are various support levels for this rally from this point to this point. As you can see, price took support near the 50% retracement. What that means is, following this entire rally, price almost corrected half of that rally before resuming its uptrend, and the uptrend continued. That's how you draw a Fibonacci retracement following a rally. You connect an important swing low with an important swing high. Now, earlier this week, Nifty made a high of something like 11,794. If you feel that it is it could be an important peak, and from there we may see a minor correction coming in, you would be interested in finding where the resistances lie. So again, I could plot the Fibonacci retracement connecting these extremes. The swing low is this. From there, the rally started till earlier this week when it made a high of 11,794. So these are the various Fibonacci retracements for this entire uptrend. So if at all price starts correcting, you could expect some sort of support near 10,791. So that's the immediate support based on the Fibonacci retracement. Then these are the other supports: 10,163. This is something like 9650 and so forth. So these regions act as supports. Now the idea is to buy when price shows signs of taking support near a key Fibonacci level. So let's go back to the presentation. Now that we have understood how to plot a Fibonacci retracement, let's see how the price is behaving. So once the retracement is plotted from point A to point B, these are the various support levels: 23.6, 38.2, and so on. The 28.3 Fibonacci was easily broken. Price did not take any support over there. So you shouldn't be looking to buy over here because price didn't take support at all. The 38.2% retracement was briefly broken. However, the selling pressure did not continue. In the following candles, as you see, price started recovering. So what that tells you is that the 38.2% is acting as an area of support. So probably I can buy somewhere around here. Now, how would I trade this is, there is a recovery from 38.2%, but I'll wait for some sort of confirmation in the price. The moment price made a higher high over here, as you can see, here is the first higher low. This low is above this low, and then over here, price is crossing the previous high. So over here, I have a sequence of higher high and higher low. So I'll be looking to buy over here. And as you can see, price started trending higher, and going forward in time, it did go higher. So 38.2% acted as a good support in this particular case. Now let's talk about how to plot Fibonacci retracement following a decline. Again, same rules apply. However, the only difference is that instead of connecting a low with a high, you will now be connecting a high with a low. So you will be connecting the 2 points in the opposite manner. So let us say that price has declined from point A to point B, and from there it has started recovering. Now, because price has started recovering following the low at point B, I will be interested in finding out where potential resistances lie so that I can look out for selling opportunities. As you can see, following this decline from point A to point B, I plotted the Fibonacci retracement by connecting A with B. There was a rally in price. Now 23.6% Fibonacci retracement did not provide any type of support. It was easily broken. However, if you see 38.2 again acted as an area of resistance. There was a break above 38.2 on this particular candle, but if you see the closing of this candle was again back below 38.2. If you remember from our Japanese candlestick series, you can recollect that this candle is nothing but a doji. So price is forming a doji near 38.2% retracement. So if on the following candle, if the low of the doji breaks, I would be looking to sell. And as you see, the low of the doji was indeed broken in the following candle, and there was a good correction in price. Again, there was a recovery following this low over here. Now this time, that recovery ended near the 50% retracement. So price did not break the 50% retracement. It showed signs of taking resistance over there, and from there the downtrend again started. So again, you could have sold somewhere near the vicinity of 50% retracement. And as you see, there was a nice decline in the price of the security going forward. So basically, whenever you draw a Fibonacci retracement following a decline in price, your objective is to find out areas where you could initiate a short position. So once the Fibonacci retracement is drawn, is constructed following a decline in price, you will be noticing how price is behaving near the key Fibonacci ratios. If it is showing signs of taking resistance near the key Fibonacci ratios, you would be looking to establish selling opportunities. Now, what about, we have identified how to enter using Fibonacci ratios, but what about stop losses? Again, let us take this particular example, or let us take this particular example in this case. As I said earlier, price formed a doji candle near 38.2% retracement, and on the following candle, price broke below the low of the doji. Now, if I sold following the break of the doji low, there are two ways in which I would have placed my stop. Number one is I would have placed my stop above the high of the doji, which is this point, or number two, I would have placed my stop above 50% retracement. So whenever you sell using a Fibonacci retracement, you could keep a stop loss about the immediate retracement level. Here the immediate retracement level is 50, so I could have placed stop loss slightly above 50% retracement. Now had I sold somewhere over here, in this case also, either I could have placed stop loss above the high of this bullish green candle or a few ticks above the 50% retracement. So that is how you can place stop losses using Fibonacci retracements. Fibonacci retracements can help you not only in finding areas where you could enter into a trade, but it could also help you in identifying stop losses for your trade. So in that sense, Fibonacci retracement is an extremely versatile tool if you know very well how to use it. Now here is again a very nice chart. As you can see, there is a decline from point A to point B, and from once price made a bottom at point B, it started rising from there. Now again, because price is starting to rise, I will be interested in finding out where resistances lie so that I can use those resistances as selling areas. So what I do is I connect the high point with the low point, and then the various Fibonacci retracement ratios would be plotted. In this particular case, if you see, the 38.2% initially acted as a resistance, but it was for a very brief period of time. However, notice 61.8% how well it acted as a resistance. Now, if you recollect earlier, I said that 61.8% is the most important Fibonacci retracement of all. And as you can see over here, price took resistance at 61.8% Fib retracement. Now I've zoomed in the picture of this region. As you can see, price is forming shooting star type candle. And over here, what you have is a bearish belt hold line, which I had discussed in our Japanese candlestick pattern series. So the emergence of this big red candle at 61.8% retracement was a strong sign that price could again start heading lower going forward in time. And as you see, if you had sold near the 61.8% retracement, you would have made decent gains in this particular trade because price fell sharply going forward in time. Again, notice that the coming rallies are again facing hurdles near 61.8% retracement. This is the first such instance. Over here, price did not touch the 61.8% retracement, but nonetheless, it fell sharply. Over here, however, price took exact resistance at 61.8%, and from there was a very steep decline in price. Again, what is important to note over here is that price formed a very classic shooting star candlestick pattern, which is a very bearish pattern. The occurrence of shooting star pattern right near 61.8% retracement was a very strong sign to sell. And as you see, there was a very steep decline in price going forward in time. So whenever you see a particular Fibonacci retracement level is holding very well, and whenever there is some sort of confirmation over there, as in this particular case where a bearish candlestick formed, you should always be looking to trade in such instances because your stop losses are relatively small. Now, in this particular case, if I trade following the emergence of this shooting star, I know that I will be placing a stop loss just above the high of the shooting star, which is very small. So I know what is my risk. My risk is very small, but my reward could be potentially huge. Now, had I sold somewhere over here, my risk was only this much, but look at how much price fell. So whenever you see price taking resistance at a particular Fibonacci retracement, and if some sort of confirmation also comes in over there, always get into the habit of trading with small stop losses. So let me just you talked about how to construct um, Fibonacci retracement following a rally in price. Similarly, you could also construct Fibonacci retracement following a decline in price. So in order to do that, I'll select this toolbox, select Fibonacci retracement, find an important high, which is this region, and then connect the swing low, which is this region. Initially, you see the rally stopped somewhere around 50% retracement. Following that, there is a decline. At 61.8% retracement, there was a minor consolidation, but price eventually managed to break above 61. Now, what does it tell you when price breaks 61.8% retracement? Now, an important thing to keep in mind is that whenever price surpasses the 61.8% retracement, it indicates that the prevailing trend has significantly weakened. So as you can see from this chart, the prevailing trend was down. This was point A, this was point B. So this was a steep decline. From there, prices started correcting. However, the 61.8% retracement was surpassed. So what it told you was that this downtrend has weakened significantly. And as we saw going forward, once price surpassed above 61.8%, there was continued rally in the case of Nifty, and price almost the 61% retracement was at 10,500. From there, we saw Nifty rising almost 13%. So 61.8% is a very important threshold 50% retracement is the exact midway mark. It it tells you that once price retraces 50%, it has retraced half of the previous move. So it's a sort of borderline. However, when price retraces more than 61.8%, it indicates that the prior trend has weakened significantly. So in this particular case, the prior trend was down. When price retraced more than 61.8% over here, it told you that the downtrend has weakened significantly. Now going forward in time, if at all Nifty declines. Now again, this is just for education purpose. I'm not giving any view on Nifty. Let me just plot an uptrend. Now, if this turns out to be, if this week's high, which is 11,794, turns out to be an important high, and if that is not surpassed soon, then we could see some sort of correction coming in. Now, these are the levels where you could expect supports to come in: 23.6%, 38.2%, 50%, and so on. However, if price retraces more than 61.8%, what it tells you is that the uptrend has weakened. But that's a long story. For now, the uptrend is pretty much intact, and because this is a very nice rally, you can use Fibonacci ratios to look out for buying opportunities if at all Nifty, if at all index declines. Again, this is not a trading recommendation. I'm just showing here how you can use Fibonacci retracement for making buy-sell decisions. So with that, let's talk about a few important buying guidelines using Fibonacci retracement. Uh, Now, of course, you would use Fibonacci retracement to buy whenever you have plotted Fibonacci retracement following a rally in price. So let's talk about some of the important guidelines that you should be keeping in mind. So once you have drawn a Fibonacci retracement following a rally in price from point A to point B, you should be looking out for buying opportunities near 38.2%, 50%, and 61.8%. However, having said that, don't blindly buy once price touches these support levels. As I said earlier, wait for price to show some signs of bottom forming near each of these Fibonacci levels. And once you see that price is taking support at any one of these levels, and if you get some sort of confirmation from the price itself, such as a bullish candlestick pattern forming, then you could enter into a buy position. Now, when you enter into a buy position, what would be your stop loss? Your stop loss would be below the immediate Fibonacci retracement level or below the most recent low. So for instance, if the buy is generated somewhere in the region when price is trading slightly upwards of 50% retracement, for example, so in that case, you could place stop loss a few ticks below the 50% retracement. On the other hand, if the buy is generated somewhere in between 50 and 61.8% retracement, then in that case, you could place your stop loss below the 61.8%. So that is how you could place your stop loss using Fibonacci retracement. You could also use Japanese candlestick patterns to place your stop losses. Japanese candlestick patterns are an excellent tool when it comes to placing stop losses and risk management. Okay, so we have talked about how to buy at a particular Fibonacci retracement level, and where should we place stop loss uh, using a Fibonacci retracement. But what about the targets? Now, in order to calculate targets, you could either use other tools or you could use something that is called Fibonacci extension. Now, in the next webinar, we will talk in detail about Fibonacci extension and how to use it. So once you buy at a particular Fibonacci support, you can determine your stop loss using Fibonacci retracement, but in order to project the target, you can use Fibonacci extension, which is a very versatile tool. So I'll talk about how to use Fibonacci extension in order to project targets in the next webinar. And again, the most important thing that I would like to say is that whenever you enter a trade on the basis of Fibonacci retracement, ensure that the risk to reward ratio is attractive at the time of buying. If the risk to reward ratio is not so attractive, then refrain from buying. Now, here are some Fibonacci retracement selling guidelines. Again, very similar, but in the opposite way. Now, when do you use Fibonacci retracement to sell? You use Fibonacci retracement to sell when you have drawn a Fibonacci retracement connecting a high and a low. So you use Fibonacci retracement to sell whenever the price has declined from point A to point B. So following the decline from point A to point B, you'll be using Fibonacci retracement to identify areas of resistances which are potential levels where you can sell. Again, when Fibonacci retracement is plotted following a decline in price, you look out for selling opportunities near 38.2, 50, and 61.8% retracement. However, don't outrightly sell when price touch these retracement levels. Instead, wait for price to show some signs of resistance near these retracement levels before deciding to sell. My favorite way of trading using Fibonacci retracement is to combine using candlestick patterns. So if at say 50% retracement, a bearish candlestick pattern forms, I would be looking to sell over there. How would I place my stop? I could place my stop either above the high of that bearish candlestick pattern, or I could place a stop loss above the immediate retracement, a few ticks above the immediate retracement. So if I sell at say at or near the 50% retracement, I would be keeping my stop loss a few ticks above the 50% retracement. Target, again, you can calculate target using other price tools. You could also use Fibonacci extension, which is a very versatile tool to project price targets. We'll talk about that in the next webinar. And again, ensure that you have a very good risk to reward ratio when entering following a signal that is generated by Fibonacci retracement. So with that, we'll end today's webinar. If you have any questions relating to trend lines or Fibonacci retracement, you could get in touch with me on Twitter or any other means you feel good. This is my Twitter handle @abchinchilkar. Before ending the webinar, I'd like to take a few questions if you have any. Does this apply to future charts too, or only stocks? Trend lines and Fibonacci retracements are applicable to all types of charts, be it spot, be it futures, be it stocks, be it commodities, currencies, bonds. You could apply it to any chart whatsoever. You could apply it across time frames. So you could apply it to 1 minute chart, 10 minute chart, 1 hour, 2 hour, 1 day, 1 week chart, 1 month chart, etc. You could apply it to any time frame as well as to any security. However, whenever trading, ensure that the security is liquid. Don't try applying Fibonacci or trend lines to securities that are very illiquid. So liquidity is important. The volume should be good. But having said that, trend lines and Fibonacci retracements are applicable to all asset classes, be it spot or futures, as well as across all time frames. The next question is, can we use trend lines in every time frame like intraday? Yes, you can. You can use it on 1 minute chart also. You can use it on 1 day, 1 week, 1 month chart, or for that matter, even 1 quarter chart. Just keep in mind that the larger the time frame, the bigger will be the stop losses and take profit levels. The next question is, Will the recorded video be available? Yes, the recorded video will be available in a day or two. Ideal time frame, again, that's up to you. You can apply it on 1 minute chart, 5 minute chart, 10 minute chart. It's totally up to you. What would be the duration for plotting Fibonacci retracement? 10 candles, 20 candles, 8 months, etc. Well, that doesn't really matter. What is important is that the time frame on which you apply. So, for instance, example, if you're applying it on daily chart, then you could have anything like 20, 30 candles, uh, and so on. The more, the better. There is no hard and fast rule to this. Is it a good tool to set stop loss and target? Yes, Fibonacci retracement is an excellent tool to set stop losses and target. If a stock is trading range bound for intraday, can we use Fibonacci and trend lines? Uh, so basically, see, if a stock is trading if a stock is in a sideways range, then you need some sort of breakout, because otherwise, how would you make money from a sideways market? There should be some sort of breakout, either upwards or downwards, before you decide to buy. Fibonacci retracement tells you areas of supports and resistances. So if you're drawn a Fibonacci retracement following a rally in price, you use Fibonacci retracement to identify buying areas. Similarly, if you draw a Fibonacci retracement following a decline in price, you're using the retracement to identify selling areas. However, before buying or selling, you have to ensure that there is some sort of momentum. Otherwise, what could happen is you could enter a trade and then price is really not going anywhere, and then you lose time. So whenever you trade, ensure that there is momentum uh, in price. Otherwise, if the price consolidates, there you'll find it really difficult to make money. Like the USD INR chart that I talked about. So, for instance, if you remember this USD INR chart over here, for almost like 6 months, price was not doing anything. So, had you traded somewhere within this lateral band, probably you would not have made money. However, see what happened when price eventually managed to break this lateral band. There was a very powerful uptrend that followed. So whenever entering a pattern, ensure that price is not sideways. Only enter into a trade following price exiting that consolidation zone. Great. So again, in the next week, I'll talk in detail about Fibonacci extension, which you can use to project price targets following entering a trade on the basis of Fibonacci retracement. So we'll talk pretty much in detail about that. Also, in the next week, I will show you how to use each of these tools on a live chart. Today, because I had to talk about a lot of concepts, I didn't have much time to show real time charts. But in the next week, we will talk in detail about real time charts. So that's it from my end. If you have any questions relating to today's webinar, or for that matter, even relating to the prior to webinar series, which was on classical price patterns and Japanese candlestick patterns, you could get in touch with me on my Twitter ID. I usually respond very quickly on Twitter, so this is my Twitter handle. If not, if you have any doubts, you could also get in touch with me in the next webinar, which will again probably be on the next Friday. So that's it from my end. With that, we'll end the conference. We'll end the webinar. Thank you a lot for your participation, and I hope to see you around next week. Have a great weekend. Thank you all.